It's been 30 years since Everybody Loves Raymond first aired, but do you know the real story behind its title? I'm Poppy Reed and I tell stories about music, film, and TV, and this is one story that just doesn't get talked about enough, probably because it's been 30 years since it happened. So before the show won 15 Emmy Awards, Ray Romano spent 12 years grinding as a stand-up comedian. He was barely scraping by, he was chasing his big break, and he was dreaming of a spot on David Letterman. Then he landed a 6-minute stand-up spot in 1995, and after his set, Letterman said, there should be a sitcom for that guy. That was the moment that changed everything. So Phil Rosenthal, who at the time he was still on the come up, like he'd written on sitcoms like Coach and Down the Shore, and he was brought in to write a show for Ray. Phil was not Ray's first choice, by the way.
I think he wanted somebody from Friends.
But Phil saw something in Ray's family stories that mirrored his own, especially his relationship with his mom and his brother. So he built the show around that tension, the overbearing mother, the overworked, tolerating wife, the dad who hides emotion behind sarcasm, and the jealous brother.
Because it's like you said before, Ma loves me more.
Phil said that dynamic, the mother loving one son more, goes back to the dawn of sibling rivalry, but it was something that he knew very well in his own life. The psychology behind the title is exactly that. Phil actually explains that it wasn't meant to sound sweet, not like, the TV show I Love Lucy, but more sarcastic.
I like that the title of the show, by the way, is Everybody Loves Raymond. Said by who? The jealous brother. Almost that this is a bad thing that everybody loves Raymond. That means nobody loves me.
So the name actually came straight from Ray Romano's real brother, Richard, who was a New York cop. So Ray said that after he won a Cable Ace Award for his work as a writer on an animated series, Richard looked at him and said,
people spit at me, they shoot at me. Everybody loves Raymond.
Then Phil's wife, Monica Horan, said, that's your title. Ray hated it. He said it sounded corny. He hoped that it was like just a working title.
So I was thinking of calling it Everybody Could Take or Leave Raymond.
But by the time that CBS made it a top 15 hit, it was too late to change. And honestly, it's perfect, that bittersweet irony, love mixed with envy. That is the show. That is the intertextual but very character-driven genius of Everybody Loves Raymond. Also, fun fact, 30 years later, Phil is still tying his work to family. He's now working with his own brother, who's also called Richard, by the way, on a new series. They have their own production company. It's called Lucky Bastards, and Richard is the executive producer of his hit Netflix show, Somebody Feed Phil. I'm Poppy Reed. I tell stories about music, film, and TV through socials and podcasts. Hit follow for more. Here's what doesn't get talked about enough though. Even when you Google the story behind the show's title, AI seems to hallucinate. Check this out.